Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I hope you all are doing great. This is me, Noreen Ansari, live with SZABTalks. And today's topic for us is emotional intelligence. I'm just waiting for a few of you to join us. And inshallah, then we shall begin with our discussion. So जी अगर आप लोग ये शो देख रहे हैं, if you guys are with us live and you know that we will be discussing about emotional intelligence today, so I would like to know from each one of you that how exactly are you feeling right now? क्या एक feeling आप लोगों को इस वक्त है? It can be a happy feeling, it can be a feeling of curiosity, excitement, maybe feeling a little sad here and there, or maybe feeling a little uncertain or anxious. So exactly आप कैसा महसूस कर रहे हैं? I would love to hear from you guys in the comments, please. And meanwhile, while you guys do that, I shall take a moment to thank Zabist. Thank you very much, Zabist, for another session. It's great to be live again with the same audience. I remember the previous session was career counseling session, and it was at the Zabist premises. And interestingly, as you all know, we are now, because of how things have turned for us, we are now running our educational programs and learning sessions online. So yeah, while we are not receiving any comments here, I shall begin with the program as it is, and inshallah, many of you will be watching the stream when it will be posted on the page. You guys can comment later on if you have any questions, and I shall be responding to those in time, inshallah. So beginning with the topic for today, a little bit about myself. I am Noreen Ansari. I have had an experience in the industry of learning and development. Personal development is a domain that I am very much a fan of, and I would say I develop myself in that domain, and I also study that a lot. And I help and facilitate teams, organizations, and also individuals for their personal breakthroughs. So that's a little bit about me, and about the topic for today, let's begin. So talking about emotional intelligence, what exactly is emotional intelligence? Now, emotional intelligence is a process whereby you understand how emotions function. What are emotions, how they function, how important they are. You understand yourself better through emotional intelligence, and you understand how to manage yourself better. It improves our communication with ourselves, and it also helps us having better conversations and more constructive conversations with other people. Now, talking about how all of this happens. Walaikum assalam, Heather, Hasnain Heather. Thank you very much for joining us. Talking about how emotions function in our mind. Now, there's an entire thought process happening in our minds. Now, these emotions, while there are it's a never-ending list of emotions and their tendencies, there are 5 basic emotions. There's anger, sadness, fear, guilt, and hurt. Now, while these emotions are there, we also feel their tendencies. Now, if we talk about happiness as one of the basic emotions, then maybe in a certain situation you will be feeling happy, and in a certain situation you will be feeling pleasant, and if you're very happy you will be feeling excited. So we have those tendencies, varying tendencies of these basic emotions. So while all of these emotions are there, we need to learn how to manage them in different situations. Now, we have rational thought process and emotional thought process that is happening in our minds. Now, before we move to that, I will be giving this one insight to you guys, that emotions and emotional thought process, rational thought process, this entire cycle of I would say stimulus channelization that is happening in our minds is happening in nanoseconds. Now, it is very much important that we understand this process to again manage it better, because the moment you understand a system, you can capitalize on how that system, maybe you can how you can make use of that system and make it function for you in the most beneficial manner. So इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस को अगर हम समझने की कोशिश करें तो हमारे जहन में, हमारे माइंड में, आई वोंट गेट इनटू द साइंटिफिक बिट ऑफ इट, बट थोड़ा सा अगर हम लोग इसको समझने की कोशिश करें फ्रॉम द बायोलॉजिकल एंड साइंस पर्सपेक्टिव, सो देयर आर टू parts in our brain. There's a emotional brain and there is rational brain. So the rational brain is responsible for the rational thought process, and the emotional brain is responsible for the emotional thought process. Now, either of them, it is usually when we are having discussions, so sometimes emotional thought process is considered to be irrational, but it's not that. There's nothing such as irrational thought process or any human being irrational. It's just a series of emotions that we feel, and we tend to react or behave or give a response in an irrational manner, and that is just our behavior. वो सिर्फ हमारा बिहेवियर है कि हमने किसी सिचुएशन में जो है वो गलत एक फैसला ले लिया या किसी को एक गलत बात बोल दी. अगर मैं एक एग्जांपल शेयर कर सकूं आप लोगों से कि if somebody comes to us to check for an assignment, now it's maybe an office setting and we had an assignment due, somebody's coming to us to check with us for the assignment submission, and we haven't done that, and perhaps when they come to us and they're talking to us, they do not ask us how we are feeling or how are you, nothing there, and they just say assignment ka kya hua, and maybe in that really that there we might just misjudge their tonality there. Now that is our emotional thought process coming into play. Our rational thought process is a little bit sidelined, and our emotional thought process take a lead and gives us this message that maybe this person is not being nice with me, and this person is against me, and this person is only coming to me for work and for this assignment. And something in our brain tells us that, oh, this person is not friend material. Yeah. So we do not have really great terms with them then, because unconsciously in my head, they have become that person who doesn't really care about me. Now, there is my emotional thought process that has given me this input, and I respond to them in a very, maybe in a negative manner, saying कि यार अभी नहीं हुआ and I'm very busy, I'll get back to you later, or maybe we might snap at them. मतलब हम एक ऐसा जवाब उनको देते, that is again not really appropriate. Now, your thought process may be negative. We cannot call it irrational. The thought process was negative there. Your behavior was something inappropriate, and someone might call your behavior, even if you want to call your behavior irrational, you may call that. However, our emotions, our thought processes, they're not irrational. All of these behaviors, even the negative emotions that are creating that thought process are there to help us out. Now imagine this. There's someone thinking, like, agar main bhi sochun that my anger, oh, I shouldn't feel angry, oh, I shouldn't feel sad, oh, I shouldn't feel afraid. All of these emotions are my emotions. They are there to help me out, to facilitate my thought process, to keep me sane, to just be there. And you see, there are like those airbags in a car. Like whenever the car is about to hit an impact होते के साथ ही वो airbag fill हो जाता है. Our negative emotions are like that. They are there to be our buffers and our guarding elements that keep us safe. And all of this is happening because our mind, our emotional mind, is trying to keep our survival instinct intact. It wants us to have a very nice life, easy life, and our emotional mind, or the survival instinct wants us to be that cute little baby, all at peace, sleeping in the nursery. That's the thing about it. So yes, in a moment, our emotional thought process may be such which will make us, I would say, evaluate a situation poorly and give a response, a reaction, or have a behavior which is inappropriate. That, of course, later on when we are having that one thought process, which is called self-reflection, we then have this one realization that, yes, maybe I was wrong. Yes, I said a lot of words to that one person which were not appropriate. I should have been better in my approach. All of these thoughts are then coming because we're having our reflective thought process with our rational mind. So that happens. This is the one segment that we had to cover in our discussion. I'll just review the comments here so we can see if we can facilitate any. Tell me about a time you faced an ethical dilemma at work. How did you deal with it, and what was the result? Ethical dilemma. Hajra, I have read the comment. However, if you can just be a little more specific about ethical dilemma, that would be wonderful. So yeah, talking about ethical dilemma and anything that is associated with something that might be against our values. Now that again is a very separate domain of a study that I did. It's called Neuro-Linguistic Programming certification that I did practitioner and master practitioner levels of. And there we have these presuppositions where we study that each person is a unique person and no person is a bad person. The bad is only the behavior. So again, now this is a it's a completely different domain of discussion that we must, I think, keep it for another day. Coming back to emotional intelligence, Hasnain, I would just bring that in, how to manage stressful thinking, because the topic for today, we selected emotional intelligence. The segments that are blocked for our discussion is what is emotional intelligence, understanding the rational and emotional thought processes. Plus, we will be talking about the today's time and age. Now, while we all got, I would say, familiar with the term called COVID-19 and the pandemic, all of those things have started happening back in March in Pakistan, I would say. And I think our normal life started evolving into a new normal. And a lot of the environment around us has changed ever since. Now, we have started having our conversations and discussions online, which was unlikely before. Our life has become so scheduled now. And also there is a rise of uncertainty. We are unsure if the lockdown is happening, if the lockdown is not happening, is it gonna end now or is it gonna stay for a while? Everybody is in a huge phase of uncertainty. Now, while as human beings, we enjoy uncertainty in the times of adventure when we go for a vacation or hiking and we like adventure and uncertainty, we do not know what future holds. But this time around, we are very much uncertain what the future holds. Now, the uncertainty graph has gone up so much so that we are very much, I would say, challenged in our minds. It's chaotic about like how to feel about it. A lot of us are afraid, a lot of us are sad, a lot of us are having those feelings of depression. And to be very realistic, a lot of us during this 1 year and more, we lost our jobs. We got our salaries revised. We were uncertain about where our organization that we are a part of is going. Our systems entirely just changed in a like blink of an eye. And a lot of us lost many of our loved ones. You must all remember, a lot of us posted on our social channels that this time around, so-and-so person is not with us at iftar. So guys, a lot of us are also going through that feeling which is called grief. Now, while all of this is happening, how to manage these emotions? Now, it is very easy to say that, okay, fine, you're feeling sad, just snap out of it. Just forget about it. But it doesn't really happen like that, you see. When we are having an emotional thought process or a rational thought process, all of that is happening it's happening multiple times in nanoseconds, and it's continuously there. We are feeling emotions with every passing second, if I can be very specific here. And yes, the pandemic has changed everything for us. And Alhamdulillah, yes, we stood firm amidst the calamity. We stayed firm in our approach. And Alhamdulillah, we have been fine together with each other's help. Yes. And while all of this is still there, we're not sure what future holds. We have the vaccines and everything. They are their precautionary measures. However, the SOPs, we're supposed to remain very obeying to that also, because it is the need of the game today. And with that, how to manage our emotions. Now, while all of that uncertainty is there, and the feeling of distress is there, we need to just make one minor change. While there has been so much change in our lives, we need to make another minor change in our routine. Because when we are talking about managing our own mind, we really need to understand the system there and then manage it. When we talk about management, we talk about structure. Am I correct? Yeah. We talk about a structure and having a routine. Now, while we all have crazy routines, we go to office, we come back from office, sometimes we do not know when we going to reach back home. Sometimes we work out, we fall back, we stop working out, we are eating healthy, then once in a while we're not eating healthy all of a sudden. So we're not really there with our structured routines. However, just add, if you all can, just add, I would say, not one but two elements to your routine. Have someone to talk to. Like, now this is very a small change in your routine. Maybe in your lunch hour, just make one decision for yourself that you will call any friend today. It can be your parents even, maybe, or a sibling, that, or cousin who's living maybe in another city or in another country. Just have a chat with them on messages, or just check on them how they're doing. Just talk to them. Because in this entire calamity, while we all are a little flustered here and there, we need someone to talk to. And I would really request each one of you to be there for the other person. And listen to them. Now, you need to just up your game in terms of listening, and it's not a big deal. Listening doesn't require handling heavy machinery. It just requires you to just relax, sit back, and just listen to the other person very intently and genuinely, of course, and say nothing maybe apart from just one thing, that I understand. And I'm glad you're sharing this. It's out of your system. And it's all right. I'm here to listen. And just listen to them. And while many of you would say, okay, fine, okay, I'll be there to listen to someone else, who's there to listen to me? Then I would say you yourself are there to listen to you. And that is the next thing that I would want you to add in your routine. Just maybe 10 minutes or half an hour. If you are really good at self-talk, then half an hour would be brilliant. However, just 10 minutes of that reflective thinking slot in your daily routine, where you could just ask yourself, how have I been today? How am I feeling today? Now, this reflective hour is just for yourself. You just have to sit with yourself and check with that buddy inside that, hey, how are you feeling today? How was the day today? Did you feel angry? Did you feel sad? Were you happy? What were the things you were happy about? Just have an emotional recap of your day and have a chat with yourself. And just reassure yourself that, yes, man, I'm there for you. It's all right. We'll make it through. Yeah. So coming back to our discussion that we have been having, One thing that I would also recommend would be that a lot of us go through this change of emotions and a lot of professional change in life, personal change in life, and we have to make certain decisions. Now there is something called that how to take the right decision. Yeah. Now we have that rational thought process and emotional thought process making us take bad decisions also at times. Yeah. So how to take the right decision? There is something that I shared today on my social media also. So it is said that you can ask a simple question from yourself. Does this support the life I am trying to create? This is a very simple question. Now, I can actually recall this phase in my life. Now, it has become part of my unconscious mind, and my behavior has changed. Whenever I had become a shopaholic, I wanted to change that behavior of mine. So I used to ask this thing with myself. Whenever I used to see maybe a nice pair of shoes or a nice handbag or nice clothes, and I wanted to buy that, and I used to ask myself, is this really important for me? Do I really need this? These were the exact words. Do I really need this? And in that moment, my emotional brain that was taking a lead used to just rest a little, and my rational mind used to take a lead again. And then I used to decide, okay, fine, I do not need this. Let's just walk away from this aisle. And that's how I reframed myself. And that, alhamdulillah, became part of my unconscious mind. My shopping behavior got better and I save more money now. So, about your decisions, you can simply ask yourself, does this support the life I am trying to create? If not, you can release it. Yeah. And it can be about anything, an emotional response, someone you really do not like, and having a chat with them, maybe, or making a decision, buying something, choosing a job, anything, or like even in personal and professional, both lives, in personal domain also and professional domain also, you can ask this question from yourself, and it will start helping you with making better decisions. So, guys, I'll just do another check of comments. Wali Muhammad, pandemic has changed everything, almost everything. Yes, true. But we have stood firm to take up this pandemic era. Faisal Khan, great and helpful. I'm glad Faisal is helping. Hajra, I hope I have responded to your question. And if I can, because your questions part 2 mentioned how did I deal with and what was the result, I would say ethical dilemma, a lot happens wrong in our society. Now, if I can just, that would, I would say, take the discussion to another direction, but a lot of things are happening wrong, unjust, and something that are not aligned to our values. They are happening inside, like in our society, around us, in our organizations, at our homes. A lot happens. It again, it's simple that if you can perhaps resolve it, get into it and resolve it. And if you cannot, perhaps you cannot resolve it, it's nice to have an opinion. And I would say we can't really help everyone. We cannot really make everyone happy. We cannot really resolve everything. We really need to choose our battles. And each one of us is very genuinely trying to take some bucks home so that we can get groceries. With that, yes, have a set of values and principles that are very true to you, and be very honest with them. If you think helping someone out in the office setting, if someone is facing some unjust behavior, help them out if you can. Speak for them. That's all right. Have an opinion. Yes, if you are feeling a little bit afraid that maybe you won't be able to manage the consequences, then perhaps just have a chat with yourself. Do you really need to get into this? And take the decision. I hope, Hajra, I have responded to that question. if I can talk about me, so yeah, I have spoken for people. I have spoken up for people. Ethical dilemmas. I haven't really seen something very intense in my workplace, but yes, the network that I work with of coaches and consultants and trainers and people that we train and the people that I coach, people come with very, very tough backgrounds. Like one who's having a very, I would say, a peaceful life cannot even imagine the kind of tough backgrounds people come with and the kind of life realities, the shocking life realities that they have, and people are going through a lot. And I hope if we start taking better decisions and start working towards the greater good, we might be able to make some change in the environment around us. And I think that would be the drop in the ocean. And if everybody starts making an impact with those drops in the ocean, I think the entire ocean would start to change. Yes, Hajra, we can surely discuss about that a little more. I'm going to take permission on air from the team if we can go ahead with a few minutes. And if Hajra, you can just give me more clarity, what exactly would you want me to discuss? Then I can perhaps add those points. Serish, you have asked how to respond to criticism. We usually do after receiving challenging feedback. Oh my God, that's a very important part. And I think I would request another session for giving and receiving feedback, because that involves handling crucial conversation and that involves the conversational intelligence domain. But quickly, I'll just cover that up. जैसे मैंने आप लोगों को बताया, इमोशनल थॉट प्रोसेस एंड रैशनल थॉट प्रोसेस होता है, इसी तरीके से कॉन्वर्सेशनल इंटेलिजेंस का जो एक कॉन्सेप्ट है, उसको मैं क्विकली अगर आपको सिर्फ उसकी फंक्शनैलिटी बता दूं कि व्हेन आई एम इन अ गुड रिलेशन विद समवन एल्स, सो आई एम लाइक ट्रस्टिंग दैट पर्सन एंड आई एम रियली in a good relation and a friendship with that person. And if we sit together, those two people who are having a good relationship with each other, if they sit together, they co-create. They will work on plans, they will work on strategies, they will deliver results. However, if two people do not have trust, they have certain, I would say, challenges with each other, then of course they are resistant to each other. And sadly so, that in our corporate arena, we are very much resistant to each other instead of being very at a stage where we co-create, trust each other and everything. So while we're resisting each other, results don't happen. And so much so that even feedback doesn't happen. And till this date, I started working in the industry of learning and development back in 2014 October. And since then, when I got to know that, okay, giving and receiving feedback is a challenge in organizations, till this date, if I go and sit with any acquaintance who's an HR head, and I ask them, giving and receiving feedback, is it a challenge or has this been resolved in the organization? They tell me with a sigh that yes, it is still a challenge. And kid you not, we are as human beings still challenged with the fact that we do not really know how to genuinely communicate with each other. It is a challenge. Now, people say that how to resolve it. There is not a solution. It's management. Like, you see, there are certain curable diseases and there are certain diseases that are there for life. You manage them. So communication skills, how you can resolve that, you have to manage it day in and day out. Through personal development domain is the domain that communication skills comes under. And we really need to very authentically and very individually need to take responsibility of improving our conversations with the other person. So I think that would call for that answer that Serish, you asked a question for, that how to respond to criticism is something that we need to learn about, how to receive feedback. Sometimes, if I can just add like a little 2 bits here again for feedback. Feedback is a challenge in both the areas. Like a lot of us are struggling with even the ability to give feedback. Most of our feedback is based on how we're feeling. It's not based on facts. It needs to be factual. so that the other person can receive it genuinely and make use of that feedback. Feedback, the term you mentioned, criticism, yes. हमने feedback को समझा ही नहीं है आज तक. We take feedback as something which is, oh my God, it's like a dagger, it's coming at me, that arrow, I have to take that because my boss is giving me that feedback. I think feedback is something which is, there is nothing better than feedback if you want to become better at life. If you want to become better at your work, in your personal relationships, in your career, like make a next move, you need to seek feedback, like hunt feedback, like that predator that ask everyone, am I doing well? Okay, you asked for this assignment, did I deliver right? Okay, you are from the other department, I am supposed to give you these certain reports. Are these reports in the same structure that you would make use of, and it would be better for your performance? We need to seek feedback. That is how we become better. And sadly, so that we haven't really understood the idea of feedback. And because by Bata, we are very emotionally not really strong there, because we haven't been really talking to ourselves. That reflective hour would be like going to the mental gym daily. It would be like picking up those weights daily and making those arms and jogging and building up your stamina for all that emotional functionality. And inshallah, any one of you who starts doing that would see a lot of change in your behavior. And I really hope that feedback is eventually considered as something that is important information and not just criticism. In the absence of, I am now reading another comment. In the absence of proper grievance system, how do you resolve issues? Mehvesh, I see that now there is an idea that grievance is something that we need to get rid of, maybe. Sometimes people think, and if I can just mention an example here, that being sad, having a feeling of depression or going through grief is like being underwater. And people often say, ke, oh, look at that person, he's only 1 foot under the water. Oh no, oh, look at that person, he is 7 feet under the water, and what are you talking about your grave? You're only 1 foot under the water. यानी कि एक बंदा जो है पानी के अंदर है, दोनों पानी के अंदर है, एक बंदा 1 फुट है और एक बंदा 7 फुट है. That doesn't really mean that one of them is very much at ease. They both cannot breathe. They both are suffocated. And it is very important that any time when we are having negative emotions, we give ourselves that time to process that negative emotion, to live that negative emotion. Yes, it takes some time from our schedule and we regret spending that time, but I assure you, understanding that emotional phase in that moment is very much important. People who, after having certain experience in life, who have a grief and they don't go through the phase of grievance, they have challenges later on, because it's just like you put the dust under the carpet and you keep doing that every time you have some emotion that you need to process and resolve. And one day something very minor happens and that carpet is just, it goes in the air and all of the dust comes out and you are having like a crazy meltdown that you are unable to understand that. Perhaps that, okay, why am I crying? I don't even know why I'm crying. Or why am I having such panic attack? Or why am I so much angry on everyone else for every little thing? So it is very much important that we understand our emotions and give them ample time to just be there. Because I cannot emphasize on this more, that how important are these emotions. Even the happy emotions and the sad emotions, every emotion is important. They're there to keep us sane and human. That's how we are made, and Allah has made us like that. God has made us like that, and even our negative emotions are there to help us remind that, hey, you're angry right now because there is something unresolved. You're sad right now because there is something unresolved. You're afraid right now because there is something you do not know. Maybe it's a new skill or something that requires you to expand your comfort zone. So all of these negative emotions are also there to help us perform. So it's very much important that we embrace these negative emotions also and consider them our own babies, and maybe cradle them in our arms and help them just be calm in the moment. And then of course, once that phase, it can be like a half hour or a 10-minute talk with yourself, and you will really very much strongly get out of that phase and get back to your to-do list and your schedule, inshallah. That's how it functions. Kabir, I'm really sorry, आवाज drop हो रही थी. I hope I am loud enough now. How do you de-stress after a bad day at work? There are a lot of techniques that we can utilize to de-stress after a bad day at work. And it can go from meditation, going for a workout, to calling a friend and just having a vent. Now, choose your best how you de-stress. If I can emphasize on physical activity, yes. Now, if we have a physical activity like jogging, going to the gym, that releases a lot of endorphins in our mind, and it is a happy hormone that makes us feel really powerful, successful, and happy and excited, and we go on with our day. So physical activity is very much important, which of course has gone down considerably with our life during our lives now. And if I can emphasize on it, so I have friends who work in public health research sector, and while there is cancer and cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, which is causing human deaths, there is also depression, which is top of the list. And 2017 onwards, we will be going, like the graph is inclining, where people will more often have a feeling of depression. Now, I am not saying that people will have a condition of depression, which is something critical, and for that you need to go to a psychologist, get it diagnosed, and then have a solution strategy for it. However, talking about having a feeling of depression, a lot of people have started knowing that, identifying that in their system, and have started talking about it. That is why we see a rise in life coaches, and the rise of trainers, and a lot of people coming forward, a lot of brands coming forward and providing those expert helps of psychologists, psychiatrists, life coaches, psychotherapists, that they are available for people who are coming forward and talking about their mental health. So yeah, this entire ecosystem is actually rising, and we will be seeing a rise in humans having these feelings of sadness and depression. So do you think there's a difference in the emotional intelligence of men as compared to women? I haven't really gone through any study related to that. However, Talent is Smart has mentioned that emotional intelligence, in contrast with rational mind thought process, which is labeled as IQ. So IQ and EQ, they had a research, and they mentioned in their conclusions that 85% of the people who have higher IQ are more likely to be high performers in their jobs. So overall in their life. So if you have your emotional intelligence intact, you have a better chance to excel at life. I haven't really gone through any research as such, which is gender specific, but yes, I would give you one input, Michelle, here, that men and women have been created differently. Our hormones work differently. I do not exactly, because I'm not a medical professional, so I do not exactly remember the hormones that females have, which surge every month. Men are constructed differently. They do not have that kind of emotion. However, endorphins are there, and we all require that to feel happy. Yes, men and women do go through stress, and each and every individual, because we are as unique as our thumbprints, you will see a woman who would be stronger than another man. You cannot just have gender comparisons here, that all the men and all the women. You will see variance. You will find another man stronger than another woman, or another woman stronger than another man. So we really cannot be gender specific when it comes to emotions management. And who are we kidding? In our family, when we see, there are Men also who are a little very expressive about their emotions, they talk about their emotions, which is a good thing, I would say. And there are women also in our families who do not talk about their emotions, and they are considered very strong. So yes, we all have those people around us. I hope, Michelle, I've answered your question. I hope I haven't missed any question. I guess yes, we are done, and we are 11 minutes ahead of our time. So I hope it was a great session. You guys have received certain insights that you guys will make use of. One thing I can recap is just ask yourself before you take critical decisions in life and you are a little unsure about whether should I go for it or no. Maybe you can quickly ask yourself, even for maybe going and having a lunch a lunch or a dinner at a very expensive restaurant, and you're just thinking, well, maybe should I go there or no. So just ask yourself, does this support the life I'm trying to create? Maybe you need more money to maybe finance your new office or something. So yeah, you can ask this question and also have that reflective slot where you sit and have a chat with yourself and tell yourself that I am here for you. Your inner self also really requires that. I hope this session was great. Thank you so much, Zabist, for having me on this live session. Once again, have a conversation with the Zabist audience. And if you guys have any other questions, please leave them in the comments and I shall get back to you guys soon. So that's about it. Thank you very much, everyone. Take care of yourselves and stay emotionally strong and talk to yourself more. Take care. Allah Hafiz.